Hey guys, so in this video we are going to go over the blue chip, the first financial service that is going to be released in XETA Capital. I went over this in the previous AMA. Go to our YouTube channel and check out Community AMA from September 21st. However, in an hour and 20-minute video, it's a little long, so I decided, let's break out the blue chip stuff just completely separate into its own video. So that's what we're doing here. So we're going to go over the blue chip, what it will look like, how it'll work, as well as some past performance data so that you can see how has this service actually performed previously. So if we go into our dashboard, it's going to be on the side here. You're going to see some columns for the services. And those columns will allow you to click in and activate those services. Your wallet is already authenticated. So we'll know, hey, you have 25, 50, or 75 zones. And this is what it'll look like. You're going to see something like this right here. Let me zoom in a little bit. You're going to see the blue chip activates a certain number of zones, private equity, high frequency trading. By clicking these, we will already know whether or not you own the zones that are required to activate these features. And from that point, when you click in, you'll be able to deposit your XETA. Remember, you can only deposit XETA. Right? So if your zones are producing XETA tokens, you either use your rewards or you come and basically buy the token, which also creates price stabilization. So it's a really fantastic utility that really can stabilize the ecosystem and stabilize, of course, the price, as well as fund liquidity and operations and treasury. It's just really another funding mechanism for XETA Capital and the ecosystem as a whole, but it's something that gives you guys utility that, in my opinion, is greater than selling the token itself. Okay, because we haven't seen anything like this in DeFi. I mean, usually it's first in, first out, get in, get your profit, get out, kind of thing, and there's been nothing else up to this point to do with your tokens. So this is going to give you the ability to deposit your XETA tokens into a blue chip wealth management trading service where you have people who are managing the accounts and are trading in and out of equities, blue chip equities. That's why it's called blue chip. Okay, giving you some utility with your token, giving you something to do. Well, up to this point, there's been nothing to do in projects. It's kind of boring, if I may say, to be honest with you. So this is what this is going to look like. I think this looks awesome, personally. The graphics, the utility, and this utility, by the way, guys, it's a beast. It's a lot of infrastructure. It's a lot to build. So thank you for bearing with us. It's it's a lot. It's when something hasn't been done before and you're kind of pioneering it for the first time. You have nobody to copy. You have nothing to fork. You have nothing to copy and paste, essentially. You have to build it from scratch, right? So when you click this blue chip icon, you're going to be presented with another pop-up that's going to look something like this. I'll zoom in a little bit here so you can see. All right, blue chip. So you're going to be able to see your principal up here. Let me zoom in a little bit more. Be able to see your principal right up here. You're going to be able to see your profits to date and then your total account balance. You'll be able to see your rewards available, right? So priced in XETA, but giving you the USD amount. And withdrawals will be in USDC. Just so you know, you will deposit XETA, you will withdraw USD coin, okay? Which gives positive buying pressure to XETA, reduces selling pressure, and then giving you the ability to withdraw in something other than XETA. Okay, so you're going to see a few things on here. First of all, if we zoom in, you're going to see your withdrawals. You can see what's pending out of which pool. Okay, pending. You can see what has been completed out of which pool. And you're going to be able to see a withdrawal history. A lot of data in here. A lot of cool stuff. This will be sent back to your wallet in the form of USD coin. You're going to see what is pools that are open versus pools that are vested. So vested are ones you are participating in. If we scroll down. And open are the ones that are open, essentially, at the moment. So you'll see that, if we come up here, for example, let's go right here. So this is an open pool at the moment, and you can see you can purchase individual blocks. Okay, so those individual blocks, $250. You put a minimum of $250 in out of your XETA. So this is the great thing about pooling resources together. If a pool is $25,000, a lot of people don't have that. You might have 25 zones, but it doesn't mean you have 25K in XETA sitting around, or 25K in general. So you can, purchase as little as $250 worth. So you'll see 100 blocks at $250 each. You will see blocks that are sold in purple, blocks that are available in this sort of aqua teal color, and blocks that are owned by you in orange. If I zoom in even more, I'm just going to really zoom in here. You'll see the block value that you own. Okay, you will be able to, obviously, if you were to click these ones here, you would see buy blocks, and this box here would be available for you to click. But pool open, and so these are the open pools currently. You could see same thing here. You just, in this scenario, you don't own any blocks. Now, some people ask, this 11.4%, what period is it over? These are all just numbers for the sake of testing and screenshot. So these are not, like these performance and stuff, this principle, these are not real numbers. Just kind of keep that in mind, okay? But this is what it will look like. Then you can see vested pools, right? So these are closed pools that are active that you are also invested in. So call them vested. You can see here, pool has been sold, so it's active at the moment. These ones have not been sold yet, so they're still like waiting to be filled, basically. But you can see here, you own in this picture 84 of the blocks. So you own, 84% of this, basically. You can see what the performance is, 9%. You can also see how many people are in this pool. So in this scenario, you own 84. Someone else owns the other 16. Pretty simple. And you can see total principal that you've put in as well as profit. So you can actually liquidate your entire position on the left or withdraw only profit on the right, which is pretty cool. So you don't have to run the math. Okay, what's my profit? I want to pull just my profit and subtract and then enter how much. So you're going to have two options, liquidate or profit. That's it. And then you'll see some caution down here. Hey, if you withdraw, just know that your future compounding is now reduced. Okay. And of course, if you liquidate, you're going to be, no longer receiving the benefits of this pool. Okay, something like that. So you're going to be able to scroll down and see all of the pools you're vested in. Now, here's something right here I want to show you. Actually, I'm going to open up a different screenshot because I can't quite zoom in on it. Let's go ahead and open this screenshot right here. So as you can see, you should be able to read that. So actually, let me go back. I'll show you something here real quick. So all of these pools have a little icon here that says brief. See this? It's like an I, information brief. Here's something we didn't share. And this is just a great idea. This is the Brad brainchild. Big brains on Brad, right? Some of you will know what that's from. Each one of these pools, and it could be all of them at one time, it could be individual ones, but we're going to be releasing pools, because remember I told you, these pools, this whole service is trading in and out of equities, right? We're going to be releasing pools that focus on specific sectors inside of the market. So technology, science, etc. Different equity sectors. So not only is the blue chip equities service here something that someone would want to get exposure to, maybe they're like, it's like a one and done, they're in, they're out, or, okay, I have exposure to this now, I'll go on to private equity. We're going to give you different options of sectors inside of here. So you might want to only put your money in certain sectors. And because there are folks who have religious reasons, personal reasons, otherwise that just would prefer to only put their money in certain places. So you'll see here, This one, for example, says pool brief, focus, technology, fintech. So it's financial technology. Emphasis on the tech sector, including internet services, IT, manufacturing, and financial services. So you're going to have pools that focus in certain sectors, right? And that to me gives even more options inside of this service. Just like when we give access to, for example, the private equity, there's obviously going to be different private equities that are going to be available, right? So these services are not just the first three of a catalog of many more services to come, but there's different things we can do inside of these services. There's different equities. There's different private equities you can buy in. Maybe some are going to IPO sooner, some are going to IPO later, some are shorter holds, some are longer holds, some focus on different sectors. Of course, blue chip, different sectors as well. And then, of course, there's some fun stuff we can probably do inside of the high-frequency trading at a later point. But the main point being that there's options inside of options. So not only do you have the utility of these three services, but now you've got options inside of these three services, and they're just the first three. Right? Later, when we come out with, a service at 150 or 200 or 15 or 30 or whatever the case may be, there will be options inside of those. So again, it's having an array of options. It's having an array of an economy where, hey, guess what? The XETA token, we actually accept it for all of this. You don't have to sell it off, right? You don't have to sell it and then put in your AVAX or USD coin. No, you give us your XETA token. Gives it real utility besides just selling. So this is just a quick look at the blue chip, what it's going to look like in the next few days when it's released. However, let's go ahead and look at the past performance history, because it's one thing to show the service. Okay, how has it performed previously? Let's go ahead and look at that next. All right, so I know this is unsexy, it's not branded, doesn't look pretty, but this is what I've got for you at the moment. This is the past performance history and how the blue chip service has performed. Now this is pulled somewhere in the range of 7 to 10 days ago, give or take, from today. So kind of keep in mind that if you were to look this up, it might be slightly different now, especially the markets. I don't know, the markets are so volatile, even in equities right now. A lot of this data might be outdated as far as the company year to date and the company 5 year, right? But let's go over this. So let me kind of explain how these columns are situated. So we'll look at, let's say we look at, Coca-Cola. Pick Coca-Cola here. So if you had held Coca-Cola this point, this year to date so far, it would return 5.88%. That's how it's performed. In the past 5 years, 34.58%. So just holding Coca-Cola's equity from the last 5 years would have given you a 34.58% ROI. Gaxis's 3-year performance is 57.3%. Now these two columns here on the right are the performance of the financial service. These columns here of company 5 year and company year to date are more of a comparison of, hey, if you had just held these, this is how they would perform. So it's kind of a comparison contrast situation. So if we look again, so 34 basically and a half percent, right? If you'd held Coca-Cola for 5 years, versus 57.3% through the blue chip service in 3 years. Okay. Year to date, 16.3% on the Coca-Cola equity versus 5.88 holding it. So, a little less than a 3-time return using the blue chip service of folks trading in and out of the equities versus just holding it, being like a hodler, right? It's kind of the difference between being a trader and being a hodler in crypto. We know traders will make more money. They lose a lot more. But we also know that if you had the ability to trade in addition to hodling, as we call it, right? You would magnify your ROI. I mean, holding's great. I'm a big fan of holding. However, there is also something to be said of folks who know how to trade. I'm not one of them that knows how to trade. That's why we have a Gaxis that knows how to do it. Let's go ahead and pick another one. So we'll pick Walmart. Walmart year to date is down 4%. 0.4%. Over the span of 5 years, it's up 68.87%. So the difference between this year and just the past 5 years in general. Gaxis's 3-year performance on Walmart is just a hair under 53% returns in 3 years. Meanwhile, this year, trading Walmart, they're up 11.5%. So that's the difference between being up 11.5% and being down almost 4.5%. It's having professional wealth managers who can manage and trade this and overall get you a higher ROI over time. Okay, now this is an interesting one here. Let's look at Microsoft, because these are big numbers we're looking at here. So Microsoft, year to date, is up almost 23%, which is impressive based on the markets. Up almost 250% in the last 5 years. So last 5 years, you would have 2.5x your money almost by just holding Microsoft. Pretty good. Gaxis has managed to make almost a 200%, 193% return in 3 years, trading Microsoft. And just a hair under 38% this year. So again, still beating it if you had held it, 22.9 versus 37.9. Difference of about 15%. Okay, trading it versus just holding it yourself. And we're not factoring in capital gains. I mean, this is just a situation where you're going to hand the XETA token over, right? That's going to get deposited as fiat USD value that then gets traded inside of an account using equities like this, which you are then able to pull out profits. So you're not ever getting the equities. Like, you can't reach out to, Gaxis and say, hey, Gaxis, send me my Microsoft equity. That's not how it works. So you're trading on USD principal and profit. That's it. Not the actual, you're not custodying the securities themselves. Hopefully that makes sense. This is the difference between being able to hold something versus having professionals trade in it, knowing when, how, where, who, and all that kind of stuff to trade. So if we look at these figures on the bottom, so again, these columns are 3-year performance and year to date. 3-year performance is 67.43%. Right? So if we broke that out, we have 67.43% divided by 3. That comes out to about 22. Well, about 22.5%. Here's the number I got right here, my calculator that I just used on the other screen. 22.5% over the course of 3 years. And currently, that's where we stand, about 22.55%. So you remember probably the August profit report, how it was down about 1%, but on the year still up 22.5%. So this is why it's important to have a longer term horizon with some of these services like Blue Chip, like the private equity, because even showing 1 week, even showing 1 month can sometimes not have an accurate representation of the true returns, mainly because these markets are so volatile and mainly because there is so much uncertainty in the global economy. You don't want to be showing figures every week, even every month. That to me is a good time to start showing data, but having an accurate representation of something like equities, you really need a longer time horizon, in order to have as accurate of data as possible. So 22.5%, having, like a Gaxis, a wealth management firm, trade in and out equities versus, if you would have picked some of these accurately and just held it, you could have done well. Of course, you'd have to have picked the right ones. You'd have to have picked a Shell. You have to have picked a BP or British American Tobacco. This isn't something that I don't play in equities personally. Of course, I would trust a wealth management firm to do that for me to earn me a greater return. But having to be fortunate enough to pick these ones, and it's interesting because even if you had picked just one, like just this one here, which is Intel, 42% just holding it. Gaxis still did about 65% trading just Intel. So again, you're going to be remiss to try to beat well-seasoned and versed traders, right, in a wealth management company. It's going to be very difficult to beat that. So that is utility that now we're going to have very, very soon included inside of XETA Capital, included in DeFi. I've never seen anything like this. This is just the start. I mean, then we have private equity, HFT, we have other things we're talking about. We have an array of stuff that I would have loved to have access to on the other side, being the investor, the community member, the educator, having something like this where, hey, I don't have to sell, because guess what? I can magnify my profits by using the token and putting it into a service. And then guess what? I don't have to hurt the community by selling on top of them. It's never been seen before. I haven't seen it. If you've seen it in DeFi, let me know. I'll go look at it. But this is coming very, very soon. And, we've had a member of our team, very key member, who's been out sick for a little bit. So there is just a few day delay. I do apologize. But this is mostly built. There's just some final testing that needs to take place before it's released. And this is the type of service that we're all going to be able to get access to, myself included, because I also own zones too, right? And I want access to this. I want access to the blue chip private equity, high frequency trading, because it's the kind of stuff that I can't get, right? And I don't think most of us could, get something like this outside of XETA Capital. So thank you so much for tuning in. And this is just a little bit of a look, a little bit of a baby taste of the financial services coming literally right around the corner, guys. We are at the end. We are at the end half mile. I used to run marathons, so this is like that last 0.2 mile in a 26.2 mile marathon race. We are literally can see the finish line any second, any day, any minute. And I just want to thank the community for putting your trust in this project so early on, for looking at this and saying, hey, there's something different about this, right? Especially in a market that has been so hurt, that has been so beat up, that has been lied to, that has been mistreated beyond anything any human should ever be mistreated. And it's about time that we show the rest of the market this is real utility. This is what people want. And quite frankly, I feel like we'll set a standard for the DeFi space in terms of what utility and use case is and what it is not. And anything that doesn't pass the mustard of saying, hey, making money, making big enough money to have utility to do something with your tokens that doesn't result in selling but still gets the end result that you want, which is your ROI and your profitability, which, let's be honest, that's all why we're all here in the first place, is it not? Thank you so much for tuning in. Go ahead and let us know the Discord. What are your thoughts? You have any opinions? You have any feedback? Anything to add or remove from the blue chip? What would you like to see? What's a financial service you guys would like that you've been thinking about? How would you improve the blue chip, the private equity, and the high frequency trading? Even though those are going to be revealed fairly soon as well. I'm going to have some screenshots just like I did here. But let us know. Let us know how, in your mind, because we have probably one of the smartest communities I've seen. Bankers in here. I've seen people who are IT professionals, people who are crypto experts, people who are financial experts in our Discord talking. And it's really something. That really tells me the level of brain power we have in this community. So, let us know your thoughts and how you would improve this and what you would like to see. Thanks so much, guys. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, God bless. Take care now.